yourself, my all-powerful beast! This can't be!
Hello, and welcome to The Chosen Ones, where each week we spin the big wheel and build around whatever it lands on. This week we got Jax, the Grandmaster at Arms. But if you would prefer a unit with a real weapon next time, let me know in the comments and I'll add their name to the wheel for the future. Jax is the best type of unit for this channel, because first off, he's a 2-cost unit, so we shouldn't have any trouble finding him. But secondly, he's a divine duelist. Both traits let him slowly ramp up in power to ideally become a carry. Composition-wise, it's a pretty clear path forward. Divine Duelist isn't exactly breaking new ground, but how should we build him? I guess first let's just see what Jax does. So even though the in-game art seems to imply differently, Jax does use Counter-Strike, dodging all attacks for a few seconds and then stunning nearby enemies. So we're going to build Jax as a drain tank. He's going to ideally take damage, spin and heal with a Bloodthirster, and then repeat ad nauseum. Almost like an alternating shield and sword, but he's also bashing your opponent with the shield. Let's see how it goes. Now, in a perfect world, I'd probably recommend starting with a Wukong, a Yasuo, and then, if you're lucky, a Jax off the PvE rounds. However, sometimes you end up with this weirdo Elderwood Duelist opener. It's probably not replicable, but I'm not complaining. The one big downside for me of this composition is just the flavor, because Veigar is basically the anti-Jax. Veigar is a pipsqueak, a minion of darkness who picks on the weakest enemy with his ult and sounds like he's just hitting puberty. Jax, meanwhile, is a golden god who exclusively picks on people his own size, fights on the side of light and justice, and his voice gives him super strength. But you know what? Veigar showed up, so he gets the job for now. To the untrained eye, it might look like my composition is missing crowd control without Jax. I mean, look at the enemy cat, you need a way to disrupt her ult. But Veigar does have the hardest of CC, death. I say all of this like I'm some sort of theory crafting genius, but 3 out of 8 of the people in the lobby are already rushing Veigar before Krugs, so we'll make sure to pivot out soon. After, of course, we've established that we are the alpha Veigar player. Finally, we can get our first Jax and give him the Bloodthirster. In his first foray, he doesn't do bad, but he's still a 1-star, so we'll have to step up elsewhere until we can get a 2-star. Still, though, he's already demanding respect. I mean, look at the Zephyr targeting from our opponent. No surprise we get stomped this round without our Jax. I mean, beautiful scouting on his part. I think, like I mentioned earlier, Veigar is too lame for this team, so we're going to sell him for a Divine Chosen Lux, giving us 4 Divine, 4 Duelists, and a foregone conclusion that we are going to kick ass. With both of these traits at this early in the game, Jax is at a pretty strong point, so go show them what a Duelist can do, Jax.
It's time to duel! Oh, it has the strength of 3 monsters.
Yeah, he's 3 guys in one.
Exodia, obliterate!
Your
Duel. Alright, so now at this stage of the game, I'm on top of the world. Jax carry is still pretty solid, but Lux, Jhin, and Kalista are all pulling their weight. The board state is actually a bit of a family heirloom passed down through the generations for me, and my grandfather's board has no weak cards, or I mean units. However, Jax is starting to run into some issues as the game goes on. First off, there are more powerful Aries and Veigars who don't really care about his Counter-Strike, but more annoyingly though is Ashe. Even though all she does is auto-attack, Counter-Strike doesn't block any of the on-hit effects from her ult, so she can still melt him. I ended up giving Jax a Trap Claw and a Rage Blade to finish him off. The Trap Claw gave him some nice survivability and I was happy with it. I probably wouldn't build a Rage Blade again on him though. Too much damage, not enough health. But if Carry Jax has a power spike, this is our peak. Or we might be a little bit past the peak, honestly. Our level 8 doesn't really give us much extra to work with too, and we start losing. With the way we itemize, we don't really have much damage. I mean, Kalista and Lux can do some, and Jax can do a bit, but we don't have that true damage carry. So Elderwood is able to zap us down while we try and chop down its trees. We lose to Fortune, who has a 3-star Jinx, which is just on a whole other plane of existence from our damage. And then we lose to Elderwood again. I get that Vigar is good. He's a dark magician and all. But in all seriousness, this set needs a Blitzcrank or something. Aphelios, Ari, Vigar, lots of comps built around hiding in corners with not enough to do against it. As I say this, I realize, of course, we have Aatrox, but I didn't want to put Aatrox in, and I wanted to blame my losses on something, so I'm going to blame it on the lack of Blitzcrank and not a Jax carry. We managed to pick up a set who does what I do when I go to the gym, which is you go running, of course, right to the corner, then you think about doing a sit-up and then go home. He dies, I don't do that, but you know. Now, one reason we're losing so much is because we haven't been able to get a 3-star Jax, which would be really ideal if we have a 2-cost carry. I've picked up everyone I've seen so far, and I have a grand total of 4. Now we can see why. This guy's got a golden Callista, golden Jax. Why am I beating this guy? I mean, I'm not beating him right now, but overall. And the worst thing is he's turned his 3-star Jax into a support. To take all of my Jax and just squander it with lockets, I can't allow that to continue. So now I'm low health, but I'm level 9 with a fair amount of gold. The nice thing about this composition is that it has a lot of room for multiple 5-cost units. Lee Sin is an obvious choice, but Yone and Ezreal are also quite good fits. Let's actually follow how Lee Sin does. Sort of put a master class on right here. How do you deal with a 4-star Aphelios? 1 kick, he's done. What about a huge cat about to ult your team? 1 kick, done. Golden Pike, you know the drill. And this is a 1-star itemless Lee Sin. Just beautiful. So now I'm down to 3 health left. I lost the next round, and I'm up against the man who's stolen all of my duelists. But I have 1 trap face down on the board. I have a chosen Kayn, which means I have the 2 shade bonus. That means that Kayn has the ability to send the entire enemy board to the Shadow Realm, like a Beyblade of Death. So we end up about as close to first as you can get, just losing a Nailbiter and landing in second. If Vigar hadn't gotten healing on his Hand of Justice, I think we would have won. But, you know, that's the heart of the card sometimes. So can you carry with Jax? I think so. We got second. Just make sure to lean into either Divine, Duelist, or both, and give him some tanky items. Probably don't need 2 damage ones. He's not going to do a ton of damage no matter what you give him. Anyway, if you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. It makes my day anytime I get a new subscriber, and to all of you that are already subscribed, you're the real MVP. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine, but you must fight me in real life. And watch out, like Jax, I've never lost before.